Hello, everybody. My name is the true and best Knuckles Gaming. And I also want to say, everybody, here's another thing I'm going to say why do I like Dan Versus? Well, it's because, Dan Versus is a very good show. I'm not going to lie. I actually watched the first season through season 3 while I was watching on YouTube, by the way. And also, don't forget again that I was also again actually enjoying myself for the whole show. And the reason why I do like Dan so much, it's because he actually was very funny, like doing a lot of things that were very hilarious, or even things that were actually a little bit different from the show. But also, I did watch this season through season 1 or the through season 3. So yes, I actually did watched Dan versus, and I have to say, Dan Versus is a very good show. I'm not gonna lie, but the whole thing on every style just puts everything good about Dan Versus. I mean, yeah, it's a very good show, not gonna lie. But Dan Versus actually got some good popularity for a bit. I mean, it still did good for the whole time. It still actually did very good. And also, let me tell you guys, is that, I like the way how Dan always will scream something and then it will be a versus that he'll be facing something. I mean, the whole thing about it is so funny. And also, after when I saw like episode 3 of season 1, or maybe it was a different number, well, then I also wanted to say, too, by the way, is that, also, what did Dan actually got a pet? Also, Dan actually got a cat, by the way, and the cat's name was Mr. Mumbles. Mr. Mumbles. I even like that name, and I also even like how the cat was meowing. I mean, yeah, definitely kind of like how the different reaction, how the cat keeps meowing. I kind of like the reason how, there's a name that was called Mr. Mumbles. I mean, Dan actually really made a good name for naming a cat Mr. Mumbles. Man, that is either something very gnarly impressive. And also about a few characters that also were appearing, that was named Chris and also Ellie, or I don't know about what was her name about, but I think it was kind of like a something of another name, but I think that's all I'm gonna say. But if I kind of did actually made a guess, then it is just a guess. And that's all I'm just trying to say. If I actually get the naming corrected, well, then I just pretty much move right along to the next. So, anyways, before I say anything about Dan, Dan is actually a very good character. I mean, Dan puts good jokes. I mean, he actually will insult Chris a few times, but in a few characters too. But it's just so good how it makes it feel a bit good to see how Dan always does the good reaction. I mean, Dan reminds me of 15.ai after when I figured who what the voice actor was on Dan. And also about the different version of Dan in Duncan Gaming, which is my new channel in the 15.ai world, is that I actually did make Dan actually to be a bit of the villain. I also wanted Dan to be a villain so that way that he'll see who he was, the reason that he was a villain. Sure, he may have been a hero or a villain either way, from balance to balance, but on my way only, I actually made Dan to be the villain, periodly, the villain in 15.ai on my new channel on Duncan Gaming. But if you don't believe me, well then go ahead and check out the playlist of Duncan Gaming of the 15.ai show, and then you'll probably will see the whole show coming all the way passing through it until there's another one that's going to be in the box, which will be another stack. So anyway, that's all I'm going to have to say from this time. So anyway, if you guys do enjoy another video, then be sure to give this one a like, comment, and subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, and that's all I have to say. But anyway, I think Dan was a very good character indeed. He was a very, 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 very good character in the show. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Even though the show was already ended with season 1 through season 2 and 3, it still made a very great impression of the show. But anyway, again, thank you very much for enjoying this, and also, bye bye everyone, signing out.